Queen. I'm a sixth-generation native of Haywood County. My wife is Dr. Kate Queen. We have two grown children, Charlie and Sarah. I'm a practicing architect, a small business owner, a United Methodist, and I represent Haywood, Jackson, and Swain in the North Carolina House.
Thank you. Mr. Clampett.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Mike Clampett, and I'm a sixth-generation Swain County from Bryson City, North Carolina. Retired fire service, 31 years of half of my life has been in the fire service, and I am pro-life, pro-gun, and believer in small business.
Is facing Western North Carolina.
Well, I would say first, a quality education for our young people going forward, a commitment to good schools and quality education. I would say second, jobs, good jobs in Western North Carolina for our citizens to prosper with and so our citizens can stay here in their region and their leadership to their communities. And third, I would say we need high-speed internet to every household in Western North Carolina for lots of reasons. For business to business, for educational opportunities for our children. We could have a snow day in the middle of the winter. Kids could stay home and have school at home. We could have health care and all other things with high-speed internet. So those are my three.
Thank you. Mr. Clampett, your top three issues.
Yes, ma'am. Education is important facet to that, and I think career opportunities at the second level, tier of education to community colleges. With the community college career program tying into the high school level training, we could have more plumbers, electricians, and more of the trade individuals that are needing today's society. Second item will be healthcare for Western North Carolina. We're an aging population, and we need to have a broad-based healthcare system that will take care of individuals that have healthcare needs. My mother is in a facility. She has Alzheimer's, and it's beyond the scope of my ability to care for her. So that's another item that's very important, not just to me, but to the other citizens of Western North Carolina, especially those individuals that are trying to work, raise a family, and have senior parents. Another part is the career education that I mentioned, but also for senior citizens that will return to the workforce. The senior citizens that will return to the workforce would like to have opportunities to expand their education, and they can do that at community colleges.
Thank you. And Mr. Clampett, you get to start off with question 2. There has been much debate on recent tax changes made by the General Assembly. Were these good or bad?
Well, these tax changes in North Carolina have been good for the economy. When we reduce taxes, it causes the economy to grow. And give you an example, we have gone from 44th to 15th in 1 year on the tax structure in North Carolina. We have the lowest corporate income tax in the country at 4%, which is down from 5% the previous year. We're now the rate cut is 6th to 4th in the corporate income tax component, the second best rating after Utah for any state. Also, the individual income tax is reduced from 5.75% to 5.49%, and which is scheduled in 2017. At 11th overall, North Carolina trails only Indiana and Utah among states which do not forgo any of the major tax types. So reducing the taxes in North Carolina across the board and not imposing unnecessary taxes and regulations on business has prompted the best state's growth that we've had and seen in history for the last 30 years.
Thank you. Representative Queen, your response. Tax changes, good or bad?
Well, I differ strongly from my opponent on this. We have had not a tax cut in North Carolina, but a tax shift. We're collecting the same amount of taxes as we were previously with just a couple of percent for inflation. So what's happened is the wealthiest citizens have got 90% of the cuts, the top 1%, 90% of the cuts on the individual basis. The corporates, it's even worse. 99.5% go to the top 0.5% of corporations in North Carolina. Small business has not done well in these cuts at all. So what that means is 85%, according to the North Carolina Center for Tax Policy, 85% of North Carolinians have actually had a tax hike. That's the first 89%, 85%. All of the tax breaks have gone to the top. So it's been very unfair, and the cuts have gone to education and services, what the citizens really need.
Thank you. And you can start the third question. Some rural areas in North Carolina are still lagging behind in the recovery from the Great Recession. What, if anything, can the state do to help these struggling economies?
Well, rural North Carolina is suffering very much from the policies of this governor and this Republican majority. In rural North Carolina, usually the first, second, or third employer are your education system or your healthcare system. Well, the cuts have been strongest there. By not expanding Medicaid, we are losing $2.5 billion of our taxes every year. That's costing my district 1,000 jobs today. 1,000 jobs lost. That's 1,000 households without earners that have to go somewhere else to find a job. Education is the same way. The cuts in education have hit rural counties the most. Haywood County is a good example. We've lost over 120-some teachers and teacher assistants. That's jobs lost.
Thank you. Mr. Clampett, should I repeat the question?
Mr. Queen must be reading some different information than me these days. I believe yesterday's Mountaineer advertised that the Haywood County school system was in the top 10% statewide, thanks to the legislature with that. Also, he's talking about cuts with education. North Carolina schools now rank 19th in the country in 2016, up drastically from number 37 in 2014. North Carolina schools are now the 7th best in the nation in student performance. And North Carolina now ranks 10th in the nation for state-level investment in education. With that being said, in the past 3 years, we have gone from $24 million being spent in school system education and training to 72. That's a threefold increase. So I don't know where he's getting numbers at. And he's talking about hurting the economy. There's been 350,000 jobs created, the fastest growing economy in the nation. We are now at a 9-year low on unemployment at 4.6%, and our wages are growing faster than the national rate. So I don't know what you're reading, Mr. Queen, but it's not the same information I've seen. It's in black and white.
Thank you. I've got a couple of real quick questions. You won't even need a minute to do these. Mr. Clampett, very quickly, other than the Bible, what were the last couple of books you've read?
One Carbon Atom and The American Home.
Thank you. Mr. Queen.
I'm trying to think of the name of it. I think it's Captains of the Sea, which was about the Athenian rise of the Navy that created the democracy in Athens and led them to the sort of rise of Western civilization. That was one. And another one was History of God. Those are the last two.
Gotcha. For the fifth question, Mr. Queen, yes or no, would you support a nonpartisan redistricting system in North Carolina?
Yes.
Ms. Clampett?
No.
We're down to the last two questions. Mr. Clampett, your question for Mr. Queen.
Mr. Queen, you've been elected 2 terms in the House, 4 years that you've been down there. You've been rated 115th as one of the worst legislators in Rome. Tell me, What have you introduced that has hit the legislative floor that has actually passed in the past 4 years?
Mr. Clampett, I have been on the front row in the majority, and I've been on the back row in the minority. If you get down there, you will find that there is quite a difference in how you get to lead in this legislature. This has been the most partisan legislature of my experience. I went down first in 2003 after the 2002 election. I can't say, I'm trying to think the most important thing this last session that I led in my caucus in and we passed was the Connect North Carolina bill, which was the only significant nonpartisan, bipartisan legislation that added a couple $1 billion to investment over 120 million to my district. So we did good for the public in that regard, and the citizens voted to approve it.
Thank you, and you have 30 seconds, Mr. Clampett.
So in essence, you did not have any bills in the past 4 years that you introduced to the House that actually got out of committee and run to the floor and were voted on for the citizens of West North Carolina, 119th District. Is that correct?
I don't think that is correct.
You've got 4 you've introduced and 48 you co-signed, and currently all those are in committee. Appointed to speak for 10 more.
Thank you. And Mr. Queen, Representative Queen, your question to Mr. Clampett.
Mr. Clampett, you said one of the 3 priorities for Western North Carolina in your mind was health care. Yet your party and your governor, and I think your previous statements have been not to expand, not to support the expansion of Medicaid, which would create health care for 15,000 Haywood County, Jackson County, and Swain County citizens. How can you square your identifying health care as an important priority and that kind of policy?
Well, by accepting any money from the federal government, there's always a string attached to that. And with the strings attached to that, we just got through paying $400 million of the feds for the unemployment tax that we were behind on. And I don't see taking $2.5 billion from the federal government to take and enhance, as you say, the health care of Western North Carolina, or even the state, and provide for 1,000 jobs. Because whenever you rob Peter, Paul is always the one who gets paid back. We wouldn't be able to pay that back. And it's not our money.
30 seconds.
First of all, it is our money. We pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and we pay our federal taxes. This General Assembly, this governor, are denying $2.5 billion per year, lost over $7 billion so far. $5 billion will be lost in the next 2 years of the next session at risk in this election. $5 billion. It is our money, and it serves our citizens, and it creates jobs in our community.
Thank you. Representative Queen, your closing remarks.
First of all, I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight and those who are listening at home. This is a very important election. An election to renew our commitment to public education, to lead, not lag. An election to protect our state waters and stop fracking before it can begin. An election to expand Medicaid to serve over 15,000 of our fellow citizens here in Haywood, Jackson, and Swain, while adding 1,000 new jobs here serving our neighbors. And it's past time to bring high-speed internet to every household in this state. These are my priorities. My campaign slogan is the opening line to the Appalachian Square Dance. let's all join hands in one big circle. We need to work together in Raleigh to create more new jobs for all North Carolinians, to expand opportunities for all our citizens, to work together for better pay for everyone, to work together for real, affordable, accessible health care for all. We need to work together for quality education and clean water and clear air for everyone. I will work with everyone, anyone, for a better, brighter future for everybody in this great state. It shouldn't be about special interest. It should be about the public interest. With that in mind, I ask for your support and your vote in this upcoming election. Working together, I know that this great state's best days are ahead of us. Thank you for listening, and may God bless you.
Thank you. Mr. Clampett, your closing statement.
Thank you for being here tonight and taking your wonderful evening to be here. It's a beautiful evening that God's created us in the mountains. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I want to ask you to take a chance on me. Take a chance on me. Mr. Quinn and I have faced off now. This will be the third time. And you've heard from Mr. Quinn himself that he has been fairly ineffective down there because he has referenced the legislature as being very partisan. However, listening to Mr. Quinn just now, he says he'll work with anyone. I want to be your employee in Raleigh. I want to work for you. I want to listen to you. I want to establish offices in all three counties, Swain, Jackson, and Haywood, something that's been unheard of. Like I said, take a chance on me. What have you got to lose? We didn't get anything before. I think we can get something now. I have been endorsed by North Carolina Right to Life. I do believe in the unborn, the newborns, and the rights of the elderly. I've also been endorsed by the largest law enforcement agency in North Carolina, which is the Police Benevolent Association. That says something. I've also been endorsed by Grassroots North Carolina, which is Second Amendment rights, and I'm a strong and staunch believer of that our Constitution of North Carolina is important as well as the national Constitution. Also, NFIB for small business, National Federation of Independent Businesses, has endorsed me. And that must be saying something because I am not your career politician as Mr. Queen is. I'm a retired firefighter. And I'm not going to tell you the house burning down is the best day of your life. I'm going to give you the truth and give you a straight up answer. As far as being part of special interest, yes, I have a special interest. And that is these mountains, as these mountains are my home. And I am proud to be a mountaineer from Swain County, 6th generation. One of those Bible-thumping, gun-toting, adorable intolerables out there. I'm asking for your support and your vote this November. Let's do and keep North Carolina great. Thank you.
Thank you both for your time and your service. Let's give it a hand. All right, we'll go right into introductions, beginning with Representative Presnell.
Thank you so much. I am Michelle Presnell. Thank you for having me here tonight. I am from Burnsville. I have 3 children, adults, and I appreciate you listening to my questions and answers. Thank you. Questions.
Thank you. Chantal.
Hello, and welcome to the county where, like so many of you, I was born and raised. My name is Rhonda Cole Shanable, and I'm running because I want to improve our public schools, create jobs, and grow our economy right here in Western North Carolina while cutting taxes for working families. Thank you.
Okay, we'll start with you, Ms. Chantal. What factors influenced your decision to run, and what key individuals or groups did you consult in making the decision?
When I considered running for this seat, I thought about my life. And many of you know my story. Many of you do not. I married my high school sweetheart, became a dental hygienist, and we had our sweet son, Caney, who is 29 years old now. Caney was 11 weeks premature, and as a result, he is severely physically and intellectually disabled. When I was 36 years old, my husband, David, became sick. He had cancer, and he passed away. At such an early age, at such a young age, not only was I a widow, but I was a single mother of a severely disabled son. But I survived. I not only survived, but I thrived because of the wonderful support systems that we've had in this great state. And I want those same support systems for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Presnell.
Could you repeat the question again?
Yes, what factors influenced your decision to run, and what key groups or individuals did you consult in making the decision?
I spoke with my husband, asked him what he thought about it, and we discussed it at home. I've been in the legislature now for 44 years, so it was just another reason to run again was because the policies in 2013, when I first ran, I wanted to change. I thought there was a lot going on there that needed reform. And so when I first got in, it was 2013, I ran against Representative Ray Rapp and became a legislator, really learned a lot. There's a lot more down there than you can ever imagine. When you're sitting at home, it seems like it's an easy thing to do. But as you go through the bills and the way that everything is done, one bill will have 3 or 4 different parts to it. You might appreciate one, you might like it because it's great for your district, but the rest of the bill, you don't like. So, thank you.
Thank you. Representative Presnell, you can start with the next question. Education has been a hot topic in Haywood and across the state and nation. If elected, would you strive to change the education policies now in place?
I think as we go along that the education policies are doing very, very good. We've increased annual education funding by more than $800 million and more than $1.8 billion since I took office. We've increased teacher pay, and history knows they have never been paid this much. The average teacher now is over $50,000 a year, plus the benefits. There was a $190 million teacher pay funding increase in 2016-17 alone. More teachers are coming to North Carolina than are leaving. Between 2010 and 2014, 8,500 out-of-state teachers came to North Carolina to teach, while only 2,200 left.
Thank you. Ms. Shannon, shall I repeat the question?
I absolutely would strive to change education in North Carolina. I'm on the school board here in Haywood County, and I have to brag on our district, our school system. We have just been named number 11 in the state of North Carolina. We are in the top 10%, and we've done this even though the funding has been cut. And obviously my opponent doesn't talk to parents and educators and go into classrooms. I hear these things all the time, how much our teachers are asked to do with so much less. We can do better than what we're doing. North Carolina has been historically a beacon, considered a beacon in education, not just across the state, but in the whole United States. We can do better.
Thank you. The next question, Ms. Shannon, what is your position on expanding Medicaid eligibility in North Carolina?
I citizens who are working hard but can't afford quality health care. My opponent stood on the stage at Marshall University 2 years ago, and she compared Medicaid, expanding Medicaid, to a crumbling foundation, to a house. People, we're not talking about a house. We're talking about people's lives, saving people's lives. The ability is in our hands to save people's lives.
Thank you. Representative Presnell.
And I would say again, it's just like a house. We've shored it up now. But it takes, you have to start at the bottom and you work on the foundation and bring it up. We reformed the budget-busting state Medicaid system, which opened doors for other pressing concerns. We addressed substance abuse and mental health. We funded more crisis and psychiatric priorities in rural areas. We continued the commitment to retain rural doctors, directed nearly $20 million to establish new medical school programs in Fayetteville and Asheville, provided much-needed help for families affected by Alzheimer's, increased funding for Project CARE, caregiver alternatives to running on empty, and other programs that make care more accessible. We invest more than $9 million to reform our state's child welfare program. We'll support children's safety while keeping families together.
Thank you. The next question is to you, one of these short, fun ones. What news sources do you regularly refer to keep abreast of what is happening in your state and nation?
The Civitas is very, very good. There's an education reform issue that I read on that also. Other than that, the John Locke Foundation, a lot of that is good information that gives you both sides of the whole issue.
Thank you, Ms. Shannon.
Well, of course, Vicki, I read the Mountaineer
Thank
and the Smoky Mountain News and the Asheville Times. And gosh, there's so many things that I have read. When you were asking about the books, one of the latest books that I've read was about women in politics and understanding poverty.
Thank you. This is a standard question for everybody. Would you support a nonpartisan districting commission, yes or no?
Absolutely.
Absolutely not. There's nothing that even begins to say nonpartisan when you go to putting something like that together. The other party has had 140 years, and they never suggested that we do a nonpartisan.
Thank you. And so now is the time for you to question each other. Representative Presnell, your question for Ms. Shannon.
Ms. Shannon, teachers are leaving Haywood County schools to go to Buncombe County. Teachers get better county supplemental pay in Buncombe, and they don't have to deal with school board members who put politics above education. Meanwhile, I helped raise state teacher pay to the highest level in state history. Do you regret not doing more for teachers in Haywood County? And before you blame Haywood County commissioners, do you take responsibility for any of the mistakes your school board made, including lying about closing Central Elementary to make room for office space?
Let me again say that our school system has done a wonderful job. They are 10th right now. We've moved up 4 spaces. Excuse me, we're 11th. We're in the top 10%. The decision to close Central Elementary School was made long before our school board ever had to make that decision. And it was people like you, Michelle Presnell, that voted for the policies that you have voted for, that have made our schools and our teachers have to do more with less.
30 seconds back.
You know, when your school board recently decided to stop filming some school board meetings, the reason was because the decision to close the elementary school you had already discussed, and it was all on that video. And so it proved that what you were trying to say, that I was the one that caused it, it was your board that chose to close the school.
Thank you. Your question for Ms. Brunel.
Michelle, since you've been in Raleigh, you've voted to make our families pay to clean up Duke Energy's coal ash pollution. You voted for fracking that threatens our drinking water. You voted for budgets that leave our teachers among the lowest paid in the nation. You voted to give tax breaks to out-of-state corporations and paid for it by raising taxes on our working families. And you voted to give millions to companies that ship North Carolina jobs overseas. So my question to you, Michelle, is this. When exactly did you decide that your special interest friends and the Raleigh politicians were more important than our mountain families?
Our mountain families are very, very important to me. You know, a lot of this is just politics, the way that you put things, but we've done everything that you can possibly imagine for the state of North Carolina. The teachers have the largest increase in salary in the state history. We've done a 4.7 pay increase on the average just in 2016 and 17. Teachers get a raise each year for their first 15 years of credible service, and then tier-based raises for educators with 16 or more years of service. Retirees received a COLA for their retirement, 1.6% cost of living supplement. I can't imagine that other people feel the same way that you do, but I think we've done a terrific job for the state of North Carolina.
30 seconds, Michelle.
How many teachers do we have in this room today? Do any of y'all make anything near $50,000? Thank you.
Okay, we're ready for closing remarks. 2 minutes, Representative Presnell.
I am a gun-toting, Bible-believing, deplorable, hardworking American, just like many of you. I will never change my vote on House Bill 2. Our women and girls are very important. Thank goodness mountain people know which bathroom to use. Corporations and organizations don't typically pull out of states unless they've been compelled by activists. Governor Pat McCrory worked to get $350,000 matching grant for Canton Parks and Recreation. Only 32 local governments received that. I got over $98,000 for Clyde a month ago to use for upgrades for the town, sidewalks, lights, water upgrades. I also was able to get $12,000 for each of my FFA chapters in my district, 3 in Haywood, 1 in Madison, 1 in Yancey. North Carolina economy continues to recover and grow faster with a stronger rate than any in our region, over 350,000 jobs. As your state legislator for the past 4 years, I've fought federal government overreach time and again, like EPA and the $12 million I got as a freshman for Evergreen, something it is totally unheard of. In 2017, I want to work to remove the tax on labor and the emissions testing that DEQ said Haywood County did not need. We have strong mountain values in Western North Carolina. We're honest, we have integrity, we love our country, our men and women in uniform, and our law enforcement. I've created jobs, not ugly flyers. I'm a small business owner for 30 years. I stand up for the unborn and the elderly. I continue to stand up for the Second Amendment as a lifetime member of the NRA. I also have my concealed carry. I fight for our farmers and our families, and I fight for our religious freedoms, as Mordecai told Esther, for such a time as this. Now is the time for strength, not weakness in the legislative body. My opponent will not even attend a community meeting in her own backyard against a dump in Beaver Dam. I will, I can, I do stand up to some of the most powerful people in the whole entire state. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm improve our public schools, create jobs, and grow our economy right here in Western North Carolina while cutting taxes for working families. Michelle Presnell's record is clear. When faced with a choice, she'll side with Raleigh politicians and special interests over mountain families every single time. Thanks to Michelle Presnell and her friends in Raleigh, our schools rank among the lowest in the nation in per pupil spending and teacher pay. Too many of our friends and neighbors are still struggling to live paycheck to paycheck. Working families are paying more in taxes on everyday items like child care, car repairs, and their kids' college savings. She even voted to eliminate the back-to-school tax holiday, just so ExxonMobil could keep their tax break, just so Duke Energy didn't have to pay to clean up their coal ash that poisoned our drinking water, just so yacht and private jet owners could keep a tax break. People, that's just wrong. This community that I grew up in deserves better, and I will always stand up for our families and our mountain values. Now here's my plan. I want to raise teacher pay to at least the national average, so our teachers stop moving to other states for better pay. I want to make sure we keep them in our classrooms where our kids need them. I also want to make sure that our classrooms have the resources they need to give our kids access to a world education right here. My top priority will be creating good paying jobs. I want to give tax cuts to working families and small businesses. And I'll work to hold corporate polluters accountable and make them pay to clean up their own mess. Here's the bottom line. I'll go to work every day thinking about you and your family and not corporations and special interests. Thank you.
Thank you both for your willingness to serve and for being here tonight. Okay, we'll start with opening remarks from Senator Diggs.
Good evening. My name is Jim Davis. I'm delighted to be here, especially in this historic old courthouse building. It's always a treat to come here. I'm from Franklin. I've been living there since 1974, so 42 years I've been a resident there. I'm married. I've been married for 44 years. I have 2 sons that are almost 40 and 2 granddaughters. And this is finishing up my 3rd term in the Senate. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hicks.
I'm Jane Hips. I'm a native North Carolinian. I'm an educator, a nurse practitioner, and a farmer, and I'm also a Christian. And I'm tired of seeing the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And I think it's time that we take our mountain values to Raleigh and stop these special interests from taking what we need. Thank you.
First question, we'll start with you, Ms. Hips. In your view, what are the top 3 issues facing Western North Carolina?
Well, I'd like to say there were 4, and they go with the letter E. And that's our economy, our education, expanding Medicaid, and also our environment. And what we need with education is we need to respect and support our teachers from kindergarten all the way to the university level, and we need to better fund that. As far as Medicaid, we need to expand Medicaid for 500,000 of our neediest people. It would help our economy here. It would create more jobs. It would create an expanded economy with health care and also what goes with that, with a better tax base. And also for our environment, we need to protect our environment for generations to come. We don't need to frack our waters. Thank you.
Senator Davis.
Thank you. I agree that the economy is the #1 issue that we need to deal with in Western North Carolina. And we've worked really hard to get back on track, to make our state fiscally solvent. And a lot of the jobs that we've been able to grow have been here in Western North Carolina. I too agree that education is a significant benefit to our folks, and we have funded education, increased funding for education every year that we've been in power. In addition to that, I too consider the environment. I moved to Western North Carolina for a reason. I wasn't born here. I just love the area, and I would do nothing to pollute our beautiful landscape in any way. All the regulations that we have in place for the environment are scientifically proven, and they work, and I'm proud to have voted for them.
Thank you. And you can start off on our second question. What can state leaders do to prepare for the impending job loss to automation, which is predicted to wipe out up to 20% of the existing jobs in Western North Carolina in a generation or so?
And that comes to me?
Yes.
Okay. I think probably the most important thing that we can do is to ensure that our students can read. We need to make sure that they can read, and our community colleges are the great place for our individuals, our students, and our citizens to be able to learn how to deal with the changing job market. We have to have our educational system be dynamic. Things are changing. Robotics are going to be important. The nice thing about robotics is that even though we're going to displace some low-wage earners, we're also going to replace them with very skilled individuals that can make a good living to work on all this machinery. So that's what I think that we need to do.
Thank you. Ms. Hibbs.
Well, the first thing I think we need is to have a dedicated commitment to our infrastructure. And that means not only good bridges and roads, but also that we need to level the playing field as we have in the Research Triangle Park. And we need to talk about broadband. There's an effort here in Haywood County to have Google Engine that would give us fiber throughout the county, but we need to extend that throughout the district, throughout these 7 counties. And also we need to invest in our entrepreneurs. We have a great entrepreneur program at Haywood Community College. I happen to be on the foundation there. And we work hard to equip our folks to be able to be small business owners and to have the skills that they need for businesses. We absolutely have to have cutting-edge businesses and industries here, but we can't do that if Jim keeps voting against us. He voted to get rid of the business income tax deduction that was helping our small business centers. He voted to defund the Rural Center, which helped us with our water and sewer projects.
Thank you. The next question is to you, Ms. Hibbs. You can answer first. In what ways and in what areas could you find yourself working with members of the opposite political party for the betterment of North Carolina?
Well, I've always felt like the government should be for the benefit of the people. And it should not be for the benefit of large corporations or special interests. And when I go to Raleigh, I want to work for the benefit of our people. And when I'm working with another legislator, regardless of the party, I will be able to reach across the aisle and say, let's work on this because it's helping our people. And I'm strong on having a good education for our children. We have to have a future that we leave here for our children. We have to have a clean environment. I'm in favor of those things. I'm in favor of a strong economy. And I'm in favor of health care that's good for everyone, not just the folks that have got the money to go to the doctor and have it in their pocket. We've got to take care of the health of our people. We've got to take care of education. I can reach across the aisle to anyone that has the needs and the mindset to help our folks here in North Carolina, Western North Carolina.
Thank you. Senator Davis.
Well, I don't have to promise you what I will do. I can tell you what I have done. I was 10 years a county commissioner in Macon County. I served as part of the minority on that board and also the majority of the board. And frankly, it didn't make much difference. We worked for the citizens of Macon County. I've done the same thing in Raleigh. You can ask anybody in the minority party. As co-chair of appropriations of general government and the co-chair of state and local government in the Senate, I have worked across the aisle with minority party members to help them benefit their constituency. So I have a track record of doing so.
Thank you. Senator Davis, the next question is for you. One of those fun ones. What 3 characteristics or phrases best describe you?
Old. I'm energetic, I'm principled, and I believe that our physical solvency is a big thing. But most of all, I'm a Christian.
Thank you. Ms. Hips.
Well, I think what people would say about me is that I'm a hard worker, and also that I'm very caring about people, and that I'm trustworthy. You can depend on me. If I tell you I'll do something, it will be done.
Thank you. Now, Ms. Hips, yes or no, would you support a nonpartisan redistricting system in North Carolina, given the recent court decisions invalidating congressional district maps?
Read that again.
Would you support a nonpartisan redistricting system in North Carolina, given recent court decision invalidating 2 congressional district maps?
Absolutely. And I would have done that before that court decision.
Senator Davis.
I would not. I think that each way has perils, but elections have consequences. What happens when you win the election and you have the majority in the legislature, you have the opportunity to draw districts. And so long as they're done in a fair and legal way and they pass constitutional muster, then that's the way our system works.
Thank you. And now it's time for your question to each other. We'll start with you, Senator Davis. Your question for Ms. Hips.
Yes, thank you very much. Ms. Hips, part of your campaign last year and this year, I've heard it from other participants, is about education cuts in education. I was 10 years a county commissioner in Macon, and I've been in the Senate for 6 years. Can you tell the folks out here one time that I voted to cut education spending?
Well, I think you can twist the figures any way that you want to. But if you talk with a teacher and you talk with them about what's going on in the classroom, they'll tell you things are not as good as they used to be. They will show you textbooks that were worn out. I was in your county, and I was in an English class, and they were using textbooks. They would push their desks together so they could share, and those textbooks were 17 years old. And you have cut supplies and textbooks, both of those, over 30%. Our teachers are having to take money out of their own pockets to fund the supplies that the children need. If you look at a chart as far as how you funded teachers, the teachers of the first 3 years, yes, they have gotten an increase, but those going down, they're not. They have not improved. Our principals, a mother was telling me that her son got a call from the central office about how he was going to use his increase, his salary increase. And so he said, well, how much is it? It was $12.08. And they said, is that per month? Or he asked if it was for the month, and they said, no, that's for the year. That's the way you're helping our education system in our public schools.
So I guess that was a no?
You get 30 seconds if you
Yes,
can.
we have increased education spending by $1.67 billion since we've taken effect. Your party is the one that cut over $1 billion. Your party is the one that cut instructional supplies and books from $100 million a year to $2.5. We have restored it back to in the 70s this time. And so we are well on our way to reestablishing a proper funding of education, but I'm not for just spending money on education, I'm for investing it in education. So you cannot point to one time in my 16 years of public service that I voted to cut education spending. I think that tells it all.
I'll rebut that in the next debate.
I look forward to it.
Okay. So you each asked your question, right?
She can step us.
All right. So now we're down to closing remarks. Senator Davis.
No, I have a question.
Thank you. Okay. Ask your question, next, Senator Davis.
Senator Davis, you sent many flyers out to the good people of Western North Carolina, making 2 claims, that you are a tax cutter and that I'm going to increase taxes on the middle class. Both of those claims are false, and you know it. So what do you say to that when, number one, I've never supported a tax increase for the middle class, and number two, you're the only one who voted for the following tax increases. You increased our taxes on appliances, you got rid of the back-to-school tax holiday, you raised taxes on computers, laptops, tablets, printers, and scanners, You got rid of the small business tax credit. You increased taxes on movie tickets. You increased taxes on driver's license. You increased taxes on vehicle registrations. You increased taxes on our, is there a limit to this? Yard care equipment. And right now, in the state of North Carolina, you pay more taxes on a yacht than you do on a mobile home. So that the list of taxes you have raised is huge. You can read the whole list on my website. It's janehempsforsenate.com. So I want to know, why are you lying?
I don't lie. And I will tell you one thing, that I wasn't in charge of these flyers. I don't put out these flyers. Read the flyer. Read the flyer. It's not put out by me. I haven't put out any of those. I don't even know when they're coming out. And so you haven't heard me lie about you or anybody else. And I will tell you about, we're in the process of changing our tax system. We're moving towards a broad-based consumption tax and away from income tax. The temporary tax credit that we gave to businesses was set for 2 years. We allowed it to expire after 2 years. That's individuals and businesses that had the first $50,000 of their income was state tax-free. We said it was temporary, and we meant it, and we did that. Unlike the previous administration, which said we had a temporary tax increase for income and also sales tax, we allowed that to expire. And so, if you can point to any place where I lied about you or anybody else, I think you ought to let us know what it is.
Well, your flyers are untrue.
They're not my flyers. I told you. We don't have control over who advocates for us at any time. As a matter of fact, federal law prohibits me from...
You got the red flag over there just a minute ago.
Okay.
It's my time to rebut.
Okay.
That's the last thing.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so it says the Republican Party of North Carolina, so it doesn't have your name on it. But at the same time, it has your name on the flyer, and it says these things about you, these things about me, and they are not true. It says that that you got your information about I was increasing taxes at a Macon County forum. If you will go on the internet and you will go to YouTube, you will see that I said I wanted to lower taxes on the middle class people. 5 flyers have gone out saying I'm raising taxes on the middle class people. I intend to lower taxes for you folks. Depend on that, people.
2 minutes each, and we will start with Senator Davis.
Thank you very much. Again, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. It's been a privilege to be able to share my vision for North Carolina. As I said before, I was 10 years a county commissioner in Macon, and 6 years I've been in the North Carolina Senate. My passion is fiscal solvency in our state. Unless our state is fiscally solvent, we don't have money for education. We don't have money for social services. We don't have money for anything. There is not one parameter that you can look at in our state now as opposed to when we took over that we're worse off. The national economy has improved, but it hasn't improved as fast as North Carolina. In every benchmark, we are better than the Southeast in what we've been able to do. I think our tax policy and our regulatory policy has made a difference. People are making more money. There are more people employed in North Carolina, and I'm very proud to have played a part in establishing that. I ask for your vote this coming November. I want to continue the policies that are bringing North Carolina back and making it fiscally solvent. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Hibbs.
Thank you. Thank you for being here this evening and for being interested in government. It's time to talk about the things that Jim Davis doesn't want you to talk about. He raised our taxes 50 ways to Sunday. He diverted money to vouchers for unaccountable schools. We're watching our good teachers leave, going to South Carolina and Georgia. He's taken campaign contributions from Duke Energy, while he gave them a $265 million tax break, and then turned around and charged us to clean up the coal ash spill. Right now, in North Carolina, you pay more taxes on a mobile home than you do on a yacht. I'm a retired teacher, a nurse practitioner, and a farmer. I understand what families in western North Carolina are looking for for in state government. And I'll go to Raleigh to fight for you and your family with everything I've got. I'm not sold out like Raleigh Jim. I will stand up to the special interests who don't care about our water, our schools, our aging parents, or the needs of our struggling families. I have fought for the most vulnerable people my whole life, and I'm ready to take that fight to Raleigh, where we need people who stand up for our mountain values and don't simply go along to get along with the rich and powerful. I would be honored to have your vote. Thank you, and may God bless each and every one of you.
Thank you both. Welcome to our County Commissioner portion of tonight's forum. We will start with Ms. Black with her introduction, 15 seconds.
Thank you, Amy. Welcome everybody here tonight. My name is Robin Black. I'm a certified public accountant with 18 years now, governmental accounting and auditing experience.
Ms. Brown.
Good evening. I've spent the last 40 years working and giving back to this community, serving my church, numerous nonprofit boards, and civic organizations. As your commissioner, I will give 110% by listening to the citizens, working to keep taxes low, providing an excellent education, and creating jobs for families to live in Haywood County. On Tuesday, November 8th, I ask for your vote.
Thank you. Commissioner Ensley.
Hi, I'm Kevin Ensley. I live in an Arnott community with my wife Alice. We've been married for 37 years. God's blessed us with 6 children. I have an associate degree in civil engineering. I've been in business. I have a land surveying business in Waynesville. I've been in business in Haywood County for 31 years, and I'm currently serving my 3rd term as county commissioner.
Mr. Rogers.
Hello, my name is Brandon Rogers, and I am a candidate for Haywood County Commissioner. Those of you that don't know me, I have lived in Haywood County all my life. I'm proud to be educated by our local schools. I am owner of my own small business, father of 3 wonderful teenagers, and a husband for 24 years in my high school school.
Thank you. Our first question this evening will go to you, Mr. Brown. What are the 3 top issues you think the next Board of County Commissioners will face?
I may add the 4th if that's okay. The first one would obviously be education. I think with the recent articles in the newspaper reflecting the loss of teachers to Buncombe County because of the supplement, I think that the commissioners are going to have to take a look at that and figure out if we can partner with the education system to look for ways to possibly increase the funding. Second is jobs. Jobs, high-speed internet, no question the top issue that Haywood County is facing. County and the other board members have worked hard to do that. We need to ensure that every home in Haywood County has access to high-speed internet. Third, which is not a popular one, we have a mental health crisis in Haywood County. We need to work with the mental health providers in this community to try to stop the substance abuse and drug addiction that occur in Haywood County. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Ensley.
I believe the top issues would probably be jobs. Would probably be the top issue. We do have some success there. Freightliners coming to Haywood County will take over the old Anton. Will be providing between 25 and 60 jobs over the next few years. We see where Chick-fil-A's coming to Waynesville. That'll be over 100 jobs. And there are some other stores that I've heard of that are looking at Haywood County to come here, and those will be jobs. The other thing is we need to expand our broadband. We currently have a committee studying that, and we also want to expand. Another thing we want to expand is our infrastructure to be water and sewer. Water and sewer helps with jobs. It helps with affordable housing, and those will be my top 3 issues. And we have had some success on the infrastructure on the sewer line. We had one going down 209, and I was an advocate for that to take the pressure off of Riverbend School and the 2 truck stops that are basically on sewer plants that are really won't be permitted now by the state.
Thank you. Mr. Rogers, top 3 issues.
I think all of us are probably going to agree on a lot of these tonight. The first one will be the economic situation that we have here in the county. I think that along with that, we need to expand our broadband and our internet services, along with the water and the sewer. I think that will help our economic situation and bring some businesses in. I'm also a big advocate for small businesses, as I am a small business Secondly, I guess would be education. I think education is important. As I said earlier, I'm a big fan of it. I was lucky enough to attend our local schools here in the county. Also attended Haywood Community College, and a big supporter of it and our teachers here in the county. I think we need to do what we can to keep our teachers here in the county, not have to move on to other counties close by. And then thirdly, I would say that it's our homeless kids situation that we have. We have over 400 kids here in the county that are homeless. I have a big heart for that.
Thank you. Ms. White.
My top 3 issues would be number 1, job creation, and I think we need a real working plan. We need an educated and trained workforce in order to create those jobs, and we need to invest in small businesses. They are the largest employer in Haywood County. My second major issue is affordable housing in this community. We have a dire need for affordable housing. As Mr. Rogers stated, there's over 400 children tonight that are homeless in this county, and we need to do something about that. My third issue would be infrastructure in general, and that includes broadband, water and sewer, and industrial sites.
Thank you. The second question will start with you, Commissioner Inslee. Are there any situations in which you would consider raising taxes? Why or why not?
Okay, well, each year whenever we look at the budget, the tax rate is set on what the needs of the county and what the community is. There's times when you have to raise the limit. Sometimes we need a revalue, you have to raise it at that point to do revenue neutral. Do revenue neutral. There are times when if the community asks for that, and I think there are certain needs that the community needs, like the teacher supplement, then we would have to look at that and listen to the citizens to see what their ideas would be and what their preference would be. If they wanted to increase the tax rate to pay teacher supplements, then we could consider that. I know a couple of years ago we were looking at adding resource officers to all the schools for protection. I would have been in favor of that, but I don't think the community wanted that at that time.
Thank you. Mr. Rogers.
Well, I'm never going to say never. I never thought I'd be running for an office like I am today. So I'm never going to say never, so that hopefully 10 years down the road when I'm running again for a commissioner spot, people's not going to bring that back up. But I want to say that it would be the last resort. And I am a big opponent of never raising taxes. I believe that we need to do everything that we can to keep taxes as low as that we can, and try to put money back in citizens here in Haywood County.
Thank you. Ms. Black.
Well, I hate to say never too. I guess I could be forced to the state government or done it bad. The fact is taxes have gone up. The fact is taxes have gone up in Haywood County, 5% over last year. 17 adjacent counties have a lower tax rate right now in Haywood County. We need to expand the tax base so that the tax rate doesn't have to go up. And I don't think we've got enough effort into expanding our tax base. There's not enough concern over, for example, spending $50,000 to send 75 kids to a certificate program at Haywood Community College so they can get a better job and make a living wage, rather than worrying about growing grass out here on the courthouse yard. I just think we need a different plan.
Thank you. Mr. Brown.
I'd have to concur with the other candidates that no one would ever say never would they ever consider raising taxes, because as Kevin has been a commissioner for over 12 years now, that situation could come up and could arise. Would I do my best to make sure that that didn't happen? Absolutely. But could I say unequivocally that I would not consider raising taxes? I cannot say that either. I do want to make one point that Robert brought up about there being a higher tax base in other counties and they have lower tax rates. We also have to understand that the tax value of the property in Haywood County is over $1 billion less than what it is in Jackson and Macon counties. Therefore, in order for us to operate the government in Haywood County, we have to use the base, or the commissioners do, that's based on the value of the property in Haywood County. 34% of the property in Haywood County is owned by federal lands. Therefore, it limits us on the amount of evaluation that we can put into the tax system. That becomes an important part. The second part, and I'll do real quick, is that this is a reevaluation year, and your taxes will, on your homes and property, will be adjusted next year.
Thank you. The next question will go to you first, Mr. Rogers. Most of the services provided by the county government are federally or state mandated services. There are only a few areas that are considered optional that Haywood does fund. Which of any of these might you be willing to consider cutting to reduce taxes or keep the budget balance?
Well, as you mentioned, there is less of the budget that is controlled by the commissioners than what I originally thought or originally thought. It is less than 25%, which is very surprising. However, there is a couple of things that I would look into to cut, and that would be our debt services. Our debt services, I think this past year, we were budgeted to spend over $9 million. And I would like to see us cut that $9 million back and spend that money on other projects, especially my top 3 projects that I mentioned earlier. And that would be the line item.
Thank you. Ms. Black.
Do you remember?
Yes. Most of the services provided by county government are state or federally mandated. There are only a few areas that are optional. Which of any of these might you be willing to consider cutting or shifting to fund other spending priorities?
I agree with Mr. Rogers. I think our debt service is too high, especially considering we've got about $20 million in unfunded liabilities that aren't on the books, that our children and our grandchildren are going to have to pay for. The other things, I just really want to get in the office and work with everybody in this county, Democrat, Republican, Independent, Liberal, red, black, it doesn't matter. Haywood County is too small for us to be divided. And if we don't start working together right now and working hard, we're going to get left behind. Our people are going to get poorer, our children are going to get less, and they're not going to have the same lifestyle that we were given by our parents.
Thank you. Mr. Brown.
Obviously, debt service is probably one of the easiest areas to look at because there is always that possibility that there is opportunities to refinance the current loans that we have in the county, and that would be a possibility for saving funds. I also agree with Robin that the biggest issue is that we have to work in this county together to make sure that every individual in this county has the best education they can get, we can get the best jobs that they can get, and that we provide services for the elderly and individuals that I work with on a daily basis that have intellectual and developmental disabilities.
Thank you. Commissioner Inslee.
One of the things I think we'll be able to cut in the future will be the availability fee on solid waste. The reason that fee is where it is today is because of the environmental problems that we have in the Francis Farm landfill, which is really no one's fault unless you, if you live in Haywood County between 1974 and 1994, it is, and most of us did actually. But that fee, that had to be taken care of, and I think as soon as that is mitigated, which should be in the next 4 or 5 years, that fee would be able to go down. And also, I think we could, one of the things that we've been able to do to reduce the tax rate, the taxes, has been to have partnerships to deliver county services. And we've been able to, like for instance, the economic development, we shifted that from a county office to the Chamber of Commerce. And I was very much in favor of that, and that has saved tens of thousands of dollars a year. And I was in favor of that because business people know how to do business. And so we basically shifted it to the Chamber. The Chamber's now taking care of that for us.
Thank you. The fourth question, we will start with Ms. Black. A recent public opinion survey found broad support for more land use planning. Are there any additional planning efforts you would support in Haywood?
I would support taking care of our county through ordinances. I believe this county is too small, too diverse. You go 2 miles of the downtown in the mountains for a wide range zone. I'll give you 2 examples briefly. An elderly gentleman had owned 4 acres in Buncombe County. They sold a large tract next to him, commercial entity went in, he didn't fight it. He thought the county needed jobs, he was all for it. Come to find out, when his daughter needed a place to build a house for his grandchildren so they could live next door and take care of him, he couldn't cut the land and let his daughter build a home on land that had been in his family for generations. The second example I know of is a small rural community, much like Ferguson's store down on Fine Street. That store, soda shop, they have a little music, selling food. They zoned it rural and had to shut it down. They now have to drive 10 miles to the next convenience store. Zoning does not work for everybody, and we can protect it with ordinances.
Mr. Brown, on planning, would you support additional planning efforts in Haywood County?
First of all, I want to commend the commissioners for passing the high impact usage ordinance, which was a land use planning effort, which was brought to a public hearing in Haywood County in the last month, and there was no response. I'm very excited about that they passed that, which will protect our schools, will protect our hospitals, and protect daycares from having such things as asphalt plants or other entities which could be built close within a certain distance of that school. The second area that I know that Jackson County has got involved with, and I think we can take a look at, is they have developed enterprise zones in Jackson County, which would look at areas within the county that you might want certain types of construction to go on. For example, an exit at one of the Interstate 40s that you might want to look at as that area as an enterprise to develop that land, to build hotels, restaurants, and stuff to help the infrastructure, to help the tax base in Haywood County.
Commissioner Hensley.
Yeah, we have passed a couple of ordinances, and I think you have to be receptive to the citizens. And we did pass 2 ordinances this year that had to do with land use planning, and that is a form of land use planning, or by doing it by ordinance at times. And the enterprise zone, Steve kind of took a lot of my thunder there, so enterprise zones are a good way to do that. When you have water and sewer connections, you can do so much more with your property. You can do so much more with your property that affects your neighbor. And that's what we've got to do is, I would look at it this way. We need to listen to the community. And if you have a plan, it needs to be community-based. And then everybody needs to have their input. When you have water and sewer connections, you probably really need to look at, if you are going to connect the water and sewer, then you have certain thresholds that you need to meet to be able to protect the adjoining owner. And those will be the type of planning issues that I would be agreeable with.
Thank you. Mr. Rogers.
I can't say that I disagree with anything that's been said from the other 3 candidates. I think ordinances is a good way to go about it. However, I do feel that we need to keep everything to a minimum. I think that we are regulated enough already, and I would like to hold it to the very minimum if possible. But they're correct in what they're saying about the ordinances and the water and the sewer extension. So that's what I
Question, Mr. Brown, short and sweet. What 3 characteristics or phrases best describe you?
That's a great question. Probably the first one would be that I'm Christian. The second one would be is I'm like a money rabbit, that I never stop moving. Third of all, passion, that I have a passion to help people in Haywood County, and I want to do the same for the citizens of Haywood County if I'm elected commissioner.
Thank you. Commissioner Hensley.
I would hope everybody would, the way I would like to be described is being a team builder, being a problem solver, to find solutions and have solution-based ideas, that I'm transparent, that everything that I know, people, that the public should know that I'm reasonable and rational, I weigh out the facts, and come up with the best decision, that I'm a good listener.
Thank you. Mr. Rogers.
First of all, I'd like to thank me as being a Christian. I'm a Christian, and a lot of things go on with that. Integrity, honesty, commitment, and that sort. I also think I've got a lot of common sense. I hope people look at me and say he's got a lot of common sense. He may not be the smartest bulb in the house, but he does have a lot of common sense. Also, I think being a team player would be one, and also as Kevin pointed out, I think people would say that I'm a problem solver. I love challenges and love to solve problems.
Thank you. Ms. Black?
I think number one, hopefully, would be that I'm accountable, being that I'm an accountant. I feel like people can hold me to a certain higher level of accountability because I'm used to that. The second thing is I'm committed. If I believe in it, I'm committed all the way. If I don't believe in it, I'm honest, and you're going to know.
Thank you. The next question goes to Commissioner Ainsley. Describe any economic development efforts you believe the county should pursue and how you would fund their implementation.
Well, we are currently funding Freightliner. They needed some help with some infrastructure, and we had a public hearing for that. The public rep was able to weigh in, and the county will be doing a $200,000 improvement on some roads and infrastructure there. And I believe that when the county helps with this type issue, for instance, then the county will get this money back because they're going to be putting millions of dollars into their building. We'll be getting that back, and they're going to be selling trucks and parts at this place, and we'll be getting that money back. There is a payback on that. And so when you invest, there is a little bit of, to start with, but then the return is what you're looking at. And so there's a little short-term sacrifice, but there's a long-term gain, and we're looking forward to doing that. And then as much water and sewer, as much as that we can put in, then we can help. To me, infrastructure is the main point that you want when you want to help these companies.
Mr. Rogers?
I would like to look at possibly expanding the EDC and giving them all the support and funding that we can. I know that currently we spend about $250,000 in this area. When we compare that, I think Kevin mentioned in our last commissioner meeting, Buncombe County spends $29.7 million. Of course, there's a lot more folks there, and Henderson County spends about $1.5 million. They have a population of about 110,000, where we're around 62 here. So as you can see, they put a lot more funding towards that. And again, I would like to free up other monies in our budget to put toward that. Also, like we mentioned, expanding our internet services. And another item I'd like to do is check on possible grants that are available to help with this. And also like to get with other counties, our neighboring counties, to see how they're tackling the situation.
Thank you. Ms. Black?
I think it would be, for me, shifting some priorities. If there's some unused, unavailable real estate in Haywood County that the county owns, I'd either use it or sell it and use the money for economic development by expanding infrastructure. We've all talked about it, broadband, water, sewer. All those things are critical. I would change some of the giveaway programs to forgiveness-based notice programs that are being offered as small business incentives. I would further, I think it's more of a shift in priorities from what we're currently spending our tax dollars on to what they should be spending.
Thank you. Ms. Brown?
One of the things already mentioned, obviously, would be broadband internet. Not only do we need to bring the internet to Haywood County and to extend it to every household, we also need to be competitive. The problem is with some of the high-speed internet, we're not competitive with other counties and the prices they charge for that. We need to work on that. That could be an incentive. The town of Waynesville is currently working on a project to work with their poles that they currently own to try to bring companies in to provide internet service, which would be a win-win for the city and for the county. Second thing Brandon mentioned is a grant writer. When I worked at the Schools Foundation, part of my job was writing grants. And I know, and I'm not 100% sure, but I know at one time the county did. I think we definitely need to look at that or come up with some monies to invest to hire a firm to do grant writing for the county. The return on investment would be significant. The third thing that I would like to revive is that a couple of years ago, the TDA approached the state to try to increase a 2% additional sales tax for people that travel in the country. And I think it would be important for us to pass that. That money would be used for county recreation, for blocks and more. Very important.
Thank you. Our last question of the evening before closing remarks and that goes to you, Mr. Rogers. Haywood County Schools are losing experienced teachers who can earn more money in adjoining counties or states where the supplemental salary is higher. Would you support allocating more county funds to help in teacher retention?
Absolutely. I think that education is important, as I mentioned earlier, and I have spoken to probably several, I don't know the number of, but several teachers in our county and principals, and they're all sharing the same concern. I spoke to a teacher late last night, and I said, why do you think that our teachers are leaving to go to other counties? And she said it was all based off pay. And I think that we need to look at the pay. I'd be a big supporter of that, even though that is a big chunk of our budget. I still think it's important because education, I think, is important to all of us except in this room tonight. So yes, I would be supportive.
Thank you, Ms. Black.
Yeah, I would like to first off congratulate our school administrators on being 11th out of 115 in this state. That's something that needs to be publicity, advertisement for this county, and I haven't seen anything touting how good our education system is in the last year. From 2011, the Haywood County Schools were funded by the commissioners $22.2 million. In 2015, that's down to $19.6 million. Fact is, we're funding our schools less, period. At the county level, per capita expenditures for education is down 13% from 2011 to 2015. These statistics are from the North Carolina State Treasurer from the financial statements that this county's administration sends into them. So this isn't some partisan group looking at all these numbers. Per resident spending has gone from $377 down to $327. It's time we tweak the spending formula.
Mr. Brown.
This is a subject that's near and dear to my heart as a former educator and former director of the Schools Foundation. Can we help the commissioners help fund additional funds to supplement the pay for Haywood County teachers? Absolutely, we can sure take a look at it. Are we going to solve the problem? Are we going to be competitive with Buncombe County? No. But we can do better. We need to work with the school systems. We need to provide the school system with as much money as the county allows. And then we need to allow the school system to work with that budget and determine how they would like to spend that money. If they determine they would like to look at possible programs that they might want to change or cut, then they have that option to increase the supplement for the teachers in the school. I would not be in support of a separate line item for supplements for the county commissioners, but I would be interested in talking about looking at the formula. That formula was changed 2 years ago, as many of you all know. And that formula was based on the timing of the ADM, and I think that was a very important change. But I definitely would be in support of working with the school systems to find ways to keep the teachers that we have in Haywood County here.
Thank you. Commissioner Ainsley.
One of the reasons that the funding is down is because ADM is down, and that's what our county funding and our state funding is based on, is the number of students that you have in your schools. So, and that's, you know, you have X number of kids and they get X number of dollars, and that's what the school system has agreed to. They agreed to that, and we agreed to it. We tweak it every 2 or 3 years, I think, and then, you know, it's an agreement between our board and their board. So, but the ADM numbers are down, that's why that's happening, is why the numbers are down. We need to wait, to me, as far as the teacher supplements, we need to wait for the studies committee results, and they're going to have a commissioner on that committee, which I think is a great idea. And we're going to study that and see what we need to do. And then if there's a consensus with the board when you come to budget time, then you make that a priority in the budget. Each year when we meet with Haywood, we have priorities. And if the teacher supplements are a priority, that'll be moved to the front, and we'll fund that as much as we can. And then funding that, we could probably do it a little bit every year and increase it every year, and then that way it gets bigger and bigger as time goes on.
Thank you. Now we're down to our closing remarks.
Thank you. I want to thank everybody for coming tonight and actually trying to make a difference in our county. I'm an accountant, and if you want somebody to account for your tax dollars, that's me. I've said before, Haywood County is so small we can't afford to be divided anymore. We We can't let our petty differences get the best of us. 50% of our 50% of families in poverty. We've got decreased education funding, increased taxes, and while we sit here tonight talking about our ideas for solutions, some children and seniors are going to bed hungry tonight. It's past time we turn the current trends around. If you like the status quo, and you want to support that, then there's candidates here tonight that represent the establishment and agree with their views. If you want to change, if you want new priorities, new ideas, then I encourage you to vote for a candidate outside the establishment that think we're going in the wrong direction. I promise, I'll make one promise tonight. I will make your tax dollars, the children and the elderly of Haywood County, my priority, not growing grass on the courthouse lawn.
Thank you. Mr. Brown.
I'd also like to thank Vicki and the Mountaineer and Jonathan for hosting this event tonight. Especially I'd like to recognize my wife and my family for supporting me in this endeavor. I'm going to do a little education class in my closing remarks. What is the definition of a commissioner? A commissioner is a representative of the government authority in a district, province, or other unit having both judicial and administrative powers. What are the strengths of a strong commissioner? I want to touch on 4. Honesty and integrity, which is 1. If I'm responsible for Haywood County, it is important to raise the bar even higher. The employees and citizens are a reflection of me, and if I make honesty and ethical behavior a key value, the county will follow suit. 2nd, delegate. If you have a vision, you must learn to trust your team, which includes employees and the citizens of Haywood County. It is important that we trust the team with my ideas. This is a sign of strength, not weakness. Delegating to our strong staff of employees will allow me time to listen to the consensus of the community and focus on making Haywood County second to none. Communication, 3rd, being able to listen. Being available to the employees and the citizens is critical. I am available 24/7 to you, and we represent each and every person living in Haywood County. 4th, commitment. If I want Haywood County to grow and provide future generations with the same values and life experiences I've had over the last 60+ years, I've enjoyed this. I want to lead by example. I will go into the trenches. I will roll up my sleeves, and I will give you 110%. Some of the reasons that I think I should be chosen as county commissioner are the following. 1, I have run small businesses in Haywood County for over 40 years, and I've had to make hard financial decisions. I know how to build consensus. I have either directed or served on many nonprofit boards and served on countless communities to improve the quality of life in Haywood County. Finally, most important of my life in Haywood County, I want to have lots of energy, and I want to make a difference in Haywood County. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Ensley.
Thank you, Vicki. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, the Mountaineer, for putting this on tonight. It's been my privilege to serve my county as their commissioner for 12 years. We've been able to accomplish much. We've passed 6 budgets from 2009 to 2014 that were below the 2008 budget. Our county debt is less today than it was in 2008. Our 2016 tax rate is the 24th lowest in the state. 76 counties have a higher rate than we do. Our school funding is in the top 25%. Our test scores are in the top 10%. And let me just congratulate the school board and their staff for an excellent job in that. We've completed the sale of the hospital to Duke Life Point to deliver health care. Our fund balance in 2008 when I was reelected was at 9%. Today it's at 24%. We've partnered with Haywood Pathway Center to help with the homeless, and I was a big supporter of that, proponent of that, and this has reduced the jail recidivism rate. Congratulations goes to Sheriff Christopher and our faith-based ministries. This proves that faith-based programs provide solutions for our community. We've also partnered with Mountain Projects to deliver senior services. This was all accomplished during very hard economic times. In order to accomplish this, it takes team effort. We have gone forward with the goal of moving Haywood County in a positive direction. I have always and I will always vote for what is best for Haywood County after analyzing all the facts. I support our I would be grateful for your vote to keep delivering low-cost, efficient, transparent, solution-based government. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you. Mr. Rogers.
Thank you, Vicki, Jonathan, the Mountaineer, for allowing us to come and speak tonight. My youngest son is playing over in Franklin tonight, and for those of you who want to know, the score's 7-0. His was a win right now. I hate I missed that, but this shows how important this is to me. I didn't want to come and speak tonight, I wouldn't have missed it, but thought he might watch it on the family later on. But again, thank you for allowing me to speak. It's truly an honor for me to be here. I love Haywood County, and I love the people that are here, and I'm proud of where I live. As a small business owner, I work hard to make a living here, just like many of you, and I'm dedicated to help all of us prosper in this community. Our needs and priorities have to line up with our finances, and I can assure you that I will be responsible with your hard-earned money. I want to help Haywood County residents thrive here and truly enjoy life here. I will be a consistent voice for quality of life issues, and I will fight for education, job creation, public safety, fiscal responsibility, and to ensure the highest quality of life for our residents. I want to make the county sustainable so that my kids and grandkids one day will want to return here after college to seek jobs. Back in 2002, I had a vision for my own business, which is Rogers Express Lubricant Tire in Canton. When I spoke with the light lane representatives, the banks, the developers, I was told that I would never make it, and that my business would fail. However, I proceeded on with my vision, and after 14 years later, I had the most successful year this past year that I've ever had. I have this same vision for Haywood County, and I'm committed to preserving it and leaving it in better shape than what I found. As Commissioner, I will turn obstacles in Haywood County into opportunities, and I will serve the people of this county above politics. I will make cost-effective decisions and be a voice for the people in our community. I respectfully ask for your support and your vote.